What do you make of the latest development here, Ray? You know, yesterday we had a conversation about what was going on in the NBA, and we closed out the show yesterday at 7 saying we don't know what's going to happen between now and 4 p.m. Thursday. And we got on the air 4 p.m. Thursday, and we found out that the NBA has decided they will resume play, whether it's tomorrow or Saturday, but they've decided, you know, they want to have conversations. They're having conversations with the owners, the board of governor, the commissioner, I think the business partners, and they're advocating for big change and important change. And the NHL took a lot of heat last night, you know, for playing those games. They decided to go through with them, but today they've decided, after talking with, I guess, a number of athletes and a number of players in their own league, including the Hockey Diversity Alliance, that they're going to make a stand as well. They're not going to play today or tomorrow. What do you make of that?
I'm glad they're not going to play tomorrow as well.
That's what it sounds like. That's not guaranteed, but it sounds as if all 8 teams want to be included. So
okay.
that would suggest today and tomorrow.
So I thought, looking at the timeline, you know, obviously last night watching the Dallas game, but looking at the timeline, I can understand that maybe they couldn't get things together for the early game yesterday, Boston-Tampa, but they shouldn't have played the late game. And if only to buy you some time to try and understand, to get some more information, to go, okay, exactly what are we going to do, instead of just standing here and playing the game where it seemed weird. It seemed odd. It seemed like it shouldn't have been there last night. So the fact that they're stepping away today, and I saw Nazem Kadri's tweet where he said, "Did players' decision." So the league and the players, if you will, were late to this event, but I'm glad they're at the event. And now they have to be at the event to say, okay, what are we going to do to try? It's one thing to sit out, and we talked yesterday, it takes a lot of courage to do that, but to support the other leagues that have taken the forefront, what can we do to support, and is there something we can do to enact change? I didn't like that the league said this has to be a player decision, because remember when there's a lockout and the owners constantly remind the players that there is no league without the owners. The players say there's no league without the players, but the owners say there's no league without the owners. The fact of the matter is everybody's got to be here. It can't just be to the 8 teams that are really making the stand here or making the effort here, because 23 of them are at home. There's 8 of them that are stepping away. I'd like to see the league become more visibly involved in it. Support the players. Give them tools to, okay, this is what we can do as ownership and the league. Support the principles that the HDA wants to move forward with, that Evander Kane's talked about and Matt Dumbas talked about. Support them. Make meaningful change in our sport. That's where we can start.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point about where Bettman and company can come into play on this, because I think that is likely what has been happening here in a bigger sense, is that they're taking their P's and Q's from the NBA, and in the NBA it was not driven by Adam Silver. You know, like it has been described as an NBA boycott. That's not true. It was the players, and really it was one team. It was the Bucks who made the decision, and then everyone followed suit. Orlando was on the court ready to play. They weren't thinking of a boycott. They were preparing to play. They thought they were going to play, and they were blindsided by the decision by the Bucks. And it was the players. And now you've got a scenario here where I think it would have more of an impact if it was driven by the players in conjunction with the league, suggesting that this is an important stand to take. And I think it might hold that much more weight if Bettman and company linked arms with the players and by extension with the NBA and said we're all in this together, as opposed to, well, we're not going to say anything if the players decide to do it. I think that would go a long way, but I don't get the impression like that's going to be the case here.
Well, as the league, I was doing some other radio. Has the league made any statement yet? Or the last I saw, they had not.
No, nothing has come out in the last half an hour anyway. So maybe that will happen. You know, maybe that will end up happening. Because if you're going to do this, it would be much more powerful, I think, if everyone was included, as opposed to it, just being the players. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with the owners and Bettman joining in, but I think there would be more of an impetus on them to be involved in heavier lifting in terms of trying to get things done away from the game.
So I think that's why it's important, Brian, is that, we're not talking about changing the rink size from Olympic to international ice. We're talking about a societal problem. And it's not just the players, it's the owners too. Like the entire league, we're all here in North America and seeing this play out in front of us. And so it can't just be part of one group. In my opinion, there's plenty of work that the players and the owners can do together here to help correct some of the issues we have in our sport. And really, if we can look after our house, then maybe that can progress forward. Mm-hmm. But we got to look after our house first.